I like going through this kind of stuff because you kind of get to see where people's heads are at. Because these are like the average people, right? And like I don't personally know a lot of people that comment on stuff, but there's a lot. So this video we posted on the PowerTech account, and it's about how coaches are dealing with players. So basically what you were saying, I'll play the clip, but you're talking about if you're a player and you feel like your coach is not paying attention to you, you're sitting on the bench, they're not giving you any ice time and not communicating with you at all. So it's kind of in that was the context of the video, and I'll try to play it so you guys can hear what it is before we start talking about the comments. So
when you shit on a player early, you're actually ripping his heart out. You're taking his confidence right out of everything. For what? If you're sat on a bench, man, and your coach overlooks you every single time or doesn't pay any attention to you, a kid, man, that just wants to play hockey is sitting there, and you know what they're doing? Like, and I know this sounds because I did it at 16. I was on the bench literally like this. What's going on? Why am I not playing? Like, and you know, you do the look at the coach thing, like, did you forget about me? Like, I was heartbroken. And then you go home at night and you're going, what the heck? It beats you down when a kid's playing midget, Phantom, Pee-wee, Atom, U60, whatever you call these freaking things now. You don't have the right to break their heart. You don't have that right, coach. You have zero right doing that. You have to find a way to make it work. So any of you that think that, well, not good enough, you're just going to have to suck it up. You're not that tough there, tough guy.
And it's worse than that too, because it spills into other parts of their life. That kid goes to school with his buddies that all got to play on the weekend and feels like shit for the whole day at school, or he's embarrassed or humiliated or whatever. It actually affects their development in other parts of their life. This is in the episode we talked about if parents or when parents should step in, like you said, with the coach. So you can take it from there.
Yeah.
I guess.
So like just to clear that up, like right away, it's like, yes, like so. Well, here's some of the comments. Okay, so like I just wrote two, suck it up. So that's like, suck it up. Like you're either good at, like, and there was a lot of you're either good enough or you're not. If you can't play at this level, leave. You guys are soft, all this kind of stuff. It's like I wouldn't be considered soft, guys.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, so those are the guys that, yeah. So, and then on the other side, you have people say, yes, everyone should play fair. Everybody should have a chance. Like, so you got, everyone gets a trophy, eh? Then everyone should get a trophy. Like, so you had both sides, and it's like so extreme that it's crazy. Took out of context that in the podcast, what we're talking about is, in youth hockey, at a certain level, we're talking house league, everyone should play. We're talking up to a certain point. Yes, as you go to AAA, the competition gets a little bit different. There should be some sort of an understanding that at certain times people need to play a little bit more. But then at the same time, coaches have to find a way to get guys in the game. And if a coach doesn't get guys into the game or just benches guys or just rolls two lines, it's like, dude, you're breaking a kid's heart. It's unnecessary. And for the guys that say, well, tough for those kids, it's like, no. Like there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
that was a context of it. So what I wanted to say about that, like I just talked about a couple of things here, like using that as a thing, because I just wanted to say one thing for the parents. So now the other caveat would be this. Once, and I said this in the podcast, once you get to junior college and up, people are making money, players are making money, school is being paid for, you're performance based, you can be cut, you can be scratched, you can get sent down, anything goes at that level because it's about winning, right? Yeah. And that was the other thing with youth hockey, it is about winning. It's like, okay, great. And yes, at AAA levels, I would say all levels of AAA, there is a certain amount that it's about development, but then there's a certain degree about winning as well. Mm-hmm. Like you do want to win. So no one wants to just see lines rolled all the time. There's a time where someone deserves a little extra shift and someone for various reasons. And it could be because we need a goal and there's certain guys you need on the ice. And it's not like for 2 periods straight, or it might be a championship game where it's important to get your guys on the ice. And then there's other times where you need to roll them. So as you get higher up in the AAA loops, of course it's going to get a little bit more competitive. So that makes sense. And the less competitive of a league that you play in or level of hockey you play in, the more appropriate it is to play more players, like everybody. And the thing is like I said, is like if your best player is moping and are doing bad habits, he deserves to miss a shift or two, or to learn, right?
Yeah.
And so anyways, so what I wanted to say about that is, so you have the two things: suck it up, toughen up. Life ain't fair. That's the one side, right? If you can't compete, don't play up. What would be another one? Whatever, we'll say that.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is everyone should play no matter what. And so I looked at this and I said, because I used my own son for an example, right? I was talking about this yesterday with you. It's so funny. It's like whatever lens it applies to you is the one that you're going to lean to. So I'm, as a coach, as a player, as a trainer, as a we haven't done anything else. A few things, whatever.
Parent.
As a parent, but yeah, as a parent, that's right. You look at it through different lenses. So when I watched my son play AAA, the first year he ever played AAA, the coach, all he ever did was roll lines, and it drove me nuts. And the reason it drove me nuts, so this might go against the people that are saying everyone should play. Well, the reason it drove me nuts, and he wasn't the best player on the team at that point, but he was top, maybe the top 5. What drove me nuts about it is because there was never a point where he would just say, okay, let's try to win this game. Let's actually put our best guys on the ice for like a couple minutes here, or a game that was important to them. It was like, no, next guy up. So if let's say my son got 2 penalties in a row, he would go out and he did, maybe he did. He would go out, serve the penalty, but the lines would roll, and it could pretty much go right back to him, and he'd just step on the ice and play. Well, is that fair? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you punish guys for penalties, because some are good penalties.
It just depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation. Maybe he's not having a great night and he's loafing it, and because he's 12. And the coach says, well, Charlie, you don't want to play tonight. Someone else will. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I'm saying that as a dad, and I'm saying that as a coach, and I'm saying that as a player. That's okay. Someone else wants to play, they'll play for you, right? That's okay. So that first year in AAA, it would drive me nuts that the coach never ever wanted to win, and he would just roll the lines because he wanted to be fair at all costs. But when you're trying to be fair at all costs, you're not fair at all.
Yeah,
right?
Equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we got to in AAA where he was the next year he was like a top dog, right? So then I'd be watching the game through my dad lenses, because I'm a human being and we're all kind of the same. And the coach would maybe roll the lines, and then now I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Right? You got to get your best guys out there, because I'm a dad and we want to win, and I'm looking at it like my kid's better than all those guys. So if you get on the ice, we're going to win this game. Real simple.
Yeah.
Or have a better chance. So then he goes to his first year in the OHL. And now I'm watching games, and it's like every shift that he's on the ice, like I'm watching, it's like, yeah, come on, have a good shift, don't screw up, whatever. And then you get to a 5-1 game or a 6-1 game, and as a dad now, you want to flip the page. It's like, well, come on, you got to get these guys on the ice. So it depends on whatever lens you're looking at. So if your kid's probably one of the better kids, then you're going to probably lean towards, you should play to win, or you should play your best guys. And then if your kid's one of the lower level guys that struggles for ice, you're going to be the parent that's sitting there and goes, everybody needs to play. Like if you give everyone a chance, we're gonna have a chance to win.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So
go ahead.
And so I'd really like, because you were saying that when we were talking yesterday, and you lay it out perfect. It's like, just as a recap, because these are the people that are commenting, right? They go to whatever applies most to them in the situation they're currently in. So if you have a kid on the team that is the top dog, always getting played, then you're, as a parent, more likely to be like, well, my kid's better than your kid, so
you're not going to complain.
Just suck it up. Yeah,
there's nothing to complain about.
Those kids need to suck it up,
right?
That they don't get to play, because if they need to play better, right?
Although what they typically complain about is when a lower level kid gets ice and makes a mistake or doesn't do very well. You hear those, me included. It's like, well, kid can't play. That's what happens
for sure. Yeah. So if you fall into that category where you have a kid that's a better player, then you're going to say, well, it doesn't matter if the coach wants to sit the kids, like they need to play better. Okay. Then if you have a kid that's getting sat, it's like, well, the kid's got to play at some point. Like he's supposed to develop. So you're for sure like that's a great way of laying it out, and you got to see it with Charlie going through the ranks exactly that. Like his first year in the OHL, it was exactly that. It'd be a 6-1 game, and all the top dogs are still on the ice, and you're just like, well, get the kid a shift, like let him on the ice, right? Because he's a young first year player. Now into his second year where he's playing his regular shift and he's getting good ice time. If there's a point in the game where
that's what I said about in the OHL
right?
now.
Because now he's getting in a position where he's getting more minutes, and if there's a crunch time situation and you see that the fourth line goes out or the first year guys go out, you're like, well, why are these guys on the ice?
That's exactly
right?
what I do.
So yeah, so
exactly.
and every parent does that. Yeah. Every person watching who's like invested in a particular
we're all
player.
Selfish.
Yeah, you look at it through your own selfish lens, and that's exactly what we saw with this clip. Now, if you listen to the full podcast, you get the whole array of context because we play both sides of everything all the time because, as we always say, it depends on what's going on, right?
100%.
But for the people that are commenting, it's like you have to check your own bias. You have to check where exactly do you lie on that spectrum of how you think a coach should be treating your player. And this is just one example. Like you can do this for anything. Like you want to get into debates about diets or training methods or your class at school or whatever. It's like, it's always the same shit. It's like you have your own thing that you want to go to, and you have to be able to step back, especially when you're invested that much, right? Because you know you're going to get locked up in your own circumstance and not really see it from the other guy's perspective. So if you're playing at a AAA level, like I said, and like you just laid out, it should be to some degree about winning still. It is about the development. You do obviously guys need to play because for the kid we were talking about in that episode and the one example we were using, it's like the kid, he shouldn't be not playing that much. Like he should be playing more than he's playing. On the other side, when it's crunch time, that doesn't mean that kid should always be playing and get all the ice if he's a weaker player on the team, you know? So you have to be able to recognize that and be honest about what the league is. It's not one or the other. It's not just development and it's not just winning. It's a combination of the two, and the older you get, the higher level you go, the more it's going to start to skew towards winning, where nobody cares about your feelings anymore. Because the second you step out of minor youth hockey into junior, at any level, it doesn't even matter what level of junior it is, that's over. Like the development, even though they say it's about development, the way that the teams are run and the way that the coaches are playing to win, that is not number one. Like number one is we got to win games, man. That's number one.
That's my job's on the line.